Alright, this is Tony Shea here. We're going to be installing the sway bars I talked about last week. I've got my good tovarish here to help me, Russian. And yeah, let's get started. Alright, first thing we're going to do is get the car up on jacks, pop the two front wheels off, since we're going to be pulling the sway bar out from the front through the wheel well. And we're also going to crack open the hood and pop the airbox out. Alright, once you have the wheels off, pop the airbox out. You're going to want to remove this bolt. I don't know if you can see it right there. There's an adjustable wrench on it right now. It's a 16 millimeter. You're going to want to pop two of those off. So one on this side and one right here, right there. You can go in from the top on the passenger side just with a bunch of extensions. On the driver's side, since the alternator is in the way, as you can see right there, you're probably going to want to go in with a wrench from the bottom through the wheel well. Alright, once you get both of those bolts removed, you're going to want to pull them out from down here, and this black bracket right here is going to come out when you pull the sway bar out. That entire bracket and bushing is going to be replaced. Steeda provides their own in the packaging. Alright, next step, we're going to want to loosen this link right here. Pop it out. There's a nut on the inside. I can't really get my camera in there to show you, but there's a nut on the inside you're going to want to remove. Me and Russian don't have ratcheting wrenches, so we're forced to use an adjustable wrench and maybe a socket to try to pop this thing out. So once those are removed, you have the two brackets that are loose on each side. Everything is unbolted, and you should be able to just feed the stock sway bar right out. Alright, my sexy model here, Russian, has the stock sway bar pulled out right here. Here is the Steeda one. Steeda one's thicker, beefier, all sorts of innuendo being thrown around right here.
About the same weight.
Approximately the same weight. So, and then what we did is, I realized I should have filmed it when we were actually pulling it out, so I apologize. Basically, you're just going to feed it through here, out this way, or the other way. And because the sway bar is, is really angled and everything, you're just going to want to kind of wiggle it out, twist it, wiggle it as you're coming out, and it helps to have someone going through the top, down through where the airbox is, helping you feed it out, because I actually had it snagged on a bracket in there somewhere, so it's easier with two people, which is why I got my buddy helping me. But once it's out, and there you have it. Okay, and what we're going to do is put the Steeda brackets on. I'll show you those in a second. We're going to grease them up, put them on, and pop this sumbitch back in the car. Alright, so what we're going to do now is take the Steeda sway bar and these bushings that came in the brackets. They open up like so. We're just going to take the included grease packet and grease the crap out of the insides. And we're also going to grease the bar right here on the inside portion. So here we have the brackets on. I put them on just to show you what it looks like. We're actually going to get the sway bar in without the brackets on first. But this is the orientation it's going to be, facing down. These are going to come off just to show you, like so. So we're going to feed the sway bar in like so, and then once it's in place, we're going to pop the brackets on. Alright, so I have the sway bar in right now. One thing you're going to want to really make sure of is when you're putting the Steeda sway bar in, to have it facing the right way. Kind of hard to tell, but the easiest way to do it is to just use the stock sway bar and then just use that to kind of make sure you don't have the new one upside down, because if it's upside down, that would be a huge pain in the ass. And the reason why it's such a huge pain in the ass is because feeding it in through here is a huge pain in the ass. A lot of maneuvering required. We tried going through this gap right here. It doesn't really work because the little gap on either end here, that you can see right there, is so small you're never going to be able to feed it through. Easiest way to do it then is just to start it through here, start the sway bar lying on the ground underneath, and just kind of angle it all the way through there, and have a guy up top reaching down into the engine bay, helping you kind of fish it through. Watch out for pulleys, any lines, any brackets that you might get it caught on. The second person is really imperative, so you're not down here by yourself just shoving and forcing your way in. That's what she said. Anyways, just forcing our way in. Maybe it'll break something or snap something off. We had a water line that was kind of getting forced earlier, so. But anyways, once that's in and in place, like so, it's a little bit far this way, but we should be good. Make sure your bushings are all still in. Sorry, I'm trying to focus here. I don't know if you guys can see that bushing right there. Make sure it's still in place, and then we can take those gold brackets I showed you earlier, just pop them on and bolt them down. Okay, so you see right now I have the bracket in, and here's where you're really going to want to pay attention to. Hold on, I'm having issues focusing here. Now, you see the bracket moving right now? Rush and go ahead and give it a jiggle. You're going to want to make sure on both sides you have the bolt and the bracket in either, shoot, I lost it. Either all the way back, like so, or all the way forward, like that. Because if you have them off by even like a half inch or so, your sway bar is going to be installed crooked. And it could be a problem when you have it in the toe link and everything, and you know, your alignment's going to be all effed up. So, yeah, right now we have them all the way back. And you're going to want to make sure the other side is basically matching it. I don't know if that made any sense, but hopefully Russian jiggling the thing kind of helped you visualize what's going on. But yeah, the sway bar's in. You're just going to feed the bracket in, pop it on that bushing that was there, and just want to make sure that this hole, which is a long oval, okay, so there's going to be a little bit of play. Just want to make sure that that is in the exact same spot on either side. Alright, here we go. So, sway bar's in, as you can see. We have the end link in, and as you can see, there are 4 holes on the Steeda sway bar. These are adjustable in terms of stiffness. So the one furthest out, towards the front, that one is going to be your stiffest setting, and the one further back is going to be the closest one to whatever the stock setting was. Still going to be a little bit firmer than stock, but it's probably going to give you the more comfortable ride. I want mine stiff, but not, you know, I don't want to be bouncing around everywhere. So we opted for the second one in. And just like before, you're going to want something holding that there and something twisting that in. So probably going to need 2 hands, 2 people. Going to be the quickest way of doing it. And just tighten this back up. And we're going to tighten these bolts up. Having some issues focusing right now. Tighten these bolts up here, and theoretically it should be finished. Now, I do not have a magnetic socket wrench, so this bolt here, which was kind of a pain to get to, I just taped it onto my my 16mm socket and twisted it in there. And remember about the orientation of the ovals in the brackets. You want to make sure they're in the same spot on both sides. Both sides. You don't want a crooked sway bar. So again, got the bolts here, got that bolt there, and you have the 2 bolts on the end link here, and once all those are tightened, the job is done. Alright, what we have Russian doing here is tightening it up. 16mm socket and a wrench, because it has two nuts you're going to really want to grab a hold of. And just tighten this bastard down. Alright, and we are finished with the front sway bars. So we have this end link tightened in all the way on the second stiffest setting. We have these 2 bolts back in. Now, this bolt right here, we had a little trouble with. I'm sure it was just us. I don't know if you guys were running into any trouble or not. That bolt, for some reason, was going in crooked, and just, we weren't able to torque it past maybe like halfway into the hole. So, took a little bit of wiggling and maneuvering. We finally did get it in straight, thank goodness. So yeah, we're ready to go with the front sway bars. So we got these torqued down, end links all ready to go. Second stiffest setting, and a lovely blue sway bar from Steeda. Now we're going to move into the rear sway bars, which should be easier. Alright, so now that we have the front sway bars installed, we're going to move on to the rear ones. The rear ones are right here. It's going to be a lot easier for a couple of reasons. Number one, there are not as many angles. For the most part, this is straight. so you should be able to feed it out from under the car just fine. And we're gonna be popping the wheels off here. Russian's going at it already. And yeah, we'll continue this after we get the car lifted. Alright, we have the rear of the car jacked up, wheels removed to make life a little bit easier. As you can see, the rear sway bar is going to be a hell of a lot easier to deal with as soon as I can focus here. So here it is, right here. All we're going to need to do is remove, zoom in here. I don't know if you guys can see that bracket. So we're just going to go from under and remove that next to that muffler pipe there. And then we're just going to remove this nut right here from the end link. And we're going to remove this one just to pull the brake line out of the way. And then this thing should just feed straight out. Get the new one in. And bada bing, bada boom.
Hey, if you don't mind.
Alright, so we're removing the end link here. It's kind of a pain in the ass because we need an Allen key in that that stud right there. I don't know if you can see it.
First thing.
Yeah, that stud right there. And we also need to use a wrench to remove that nut. I don't appear to have the correct size Allen key, so we're going to need to get a little bit creative doing this.
First thing you got to do is remove the brake lines.
Yep.
Because it's going to give you a lot more clearance to get to that bolt. So let's do that first.
What Russian said.
Yeah.
Alright, once this is all loosened, let me get that focused. I'm just going to pop this nut off, take this bracket off. Just pops right out. And that end of the sway bar is loose. Next we're just going to do the same thing to the other side and remove, I'm trying to focus here people, and remove that bracket. Alright, we got the end links removed, the brackets removed, and my trusty friend Russian's going to be pulling the sway bar out. Should be a pretty easy task. Like I said, it's mostly a straight bar. Just feed it on through. And she's out of there.
Yeah, boy.
Perfect. Now, just to show you guys the difference between the Steeda and the stock rear sway bar. The rear sway bar from the stock rear sway bar is really, really, really small. And yeah, like Roshan just said, pay attention to the way you have it. Make sure it's not upside down. Okay, because that'll be a complete disaster. The rear sway bar of the stock one, I think is only like, it looks like it's only like 3/8 to an inch thick. I mean, it's really, really small. This Steeda one, beefy as hell. It's nice and thick, girthy. See that? Okay, same as before. Get these bushings all nice and greased up with the included grease. I wish I was, okay, I can't focus it for some reason. Anyways, excuse me. Just get those greased up and we're gonna be popping them on the outside edge right there. And we're gonna feed it back into the car. It should be pretty easy. So because the Steeda sway bar is adjustable, it has see the 3 holes right there? It's got 3 different stiffness settings. So because they're adjustable, you're going to have to use the provided Steeda bracket here instead of, let me show you, the stock bracket. The stock bracket has these lips. Sorry, having trouble focusing. Has these lips on the edge here that make it pretty much impossible to use with the adjustable holes on the Steeda one. So, pretty easy stuff. We're just going to use the brackets the Steeda gave and these lock nuts right here. And I'll give you a look on the other side where it's all finished. Right over here. Okay, so we got that piece in. We have that 10mm bolt in, this 13mm nut back on the whatever this stud thing here is. Alright, we have this bracket all the way in. And then the instructions said there was supposed to be a zip tie where you could tie off this brake line to something, but we didn't get zip ties. And I mean, looking at the brake line right now, I don't really see where it would tie into anything, so I think we're good without it. But yeah, this is what the finished product looks like. And we're just going to finish up the other side and then we're done.